I think we're live. I can pull up our little comment stuff. There we go. Okay, we're live. I'll let the number. Am I playing? Yes. Hold on. There we go. I had it up in another tab to copy the URL. I don't know if you could hear it, but I was hearing myself repeating back to myself, and I was like, "Oh no, what did I do?"
I hate it when that happens.
Hello, hello. Okay, so there's people here. Presumably, you can hear us, and we sound okay. Hello, Michelle. My favorite weirdo trio. Love it. Hey, Miles.
Who are you calling a weirdo, Miles?
Okay, brilliant. Wonderful. Okay. We will probably only need the doc today, right?
It
You never
depends
know.
on what it is that we're actually doing, because I'm not sure if we've established that yet.
Let's find out what the stream's called. A new thing, maybe. Very, very committal.
Oh, you know what we could do? Okay. Here's what we could do. We could do a poll, or what we could do.
Can you make a poll with me, you, and Beb, and it's who is weirder?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
I want to find out.
Okay. New poll. Who is the weirdest? I should probably write Madeline and not me.
Me?
Boom. Okay, there's officially.
Wow, I forgot that there's integrated pollability now.
I know. It's fancy. We're trying out new features. We're so hip, you know? Okay. So yeah, I think you have to text, put numbers in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So people, you need to vote. This is very important. Yes. Thanks, Michelle. I'm winning.
Bib's the most normal of the three, of course.
How does that feel, Bib?
I mean, I think I have the demeanor of a non-weird person. I deceive people into thinking that I'm less weird than I actually am.
Like a closeted weirdo?
Well,
I'm trying to think.
Closeted. I'm very open about the fact that I'm weird, but just I give off the impression of a less weird person.
I think I'm very weird forward.
I like that. Weird forward.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Feel does like that mean weird backward?
I don't know.
In my head, I thought we were doing like deverbal nouns in order to give. I'm trying to remember how it ends up coming out.
The name?
Harartus.
I said it non-vertically, of course. I don't know why I let myself make a language with that many post-vocalic R's. It's very much against my nature. Yeah.
I felt like Maddie was about to suggest something. She was building up to.
No?
That
is far too optimistic of you. I was just going to say, I feel like this was the last thing we talked about, or this is at least the last sentence that was said of things to do.
So it really felt like you were building up to you had your hands together and you're like, or we could do, and then you never finished that. So
well, okay, what I was going to say was that we could also try the giveaway feature where everyone in chat has to make an idea, and then we do a giveaway, and then the giveaway is just that we do what you said.
Oh dear.
Mostly just because there's funny widgets now.
Mm-hmm. So, does wasabi fit into the world building?
Where does wasabi come from again?
It's a horseradish related thing.
It's on our the mood board.
Horseradish is it a nightshade?
It's a brassica.
Of course. It's...
So are there brassicae in the world?
Not in Pillar World, no.
So there's no native brassica?
Yes, but they could theoretically have brought some with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They are very useful. You can get mustard for mustard oil, and we've sort of trained them to make lots of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if we aren't doing that, you could probably just shove that compound into something else.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
true.
be like, there's fruit that burns your nostrils if you eat it.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would get fruit that did that. I guess it would be kind of like with capsaicin, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you really want one type of thing to eat it that isn't affected by it.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'll be looking at that actually on Wednesday because we have to look at what plants and such I'm going to have in various places and stuff, so that on Friday we can work on land use for archipelago pillar cluster land.
So we have to wait a week to know whether there will be huge amounts of mustard seed oil being shipped around on the dragons.
I'll let you know next week.
I, for one, I'm always down for deverbal nouns. They're one of my favorite things. So I'm good with that, but
let's do it.
Okay. The enthusiasm of me and Bib has convinced Maddie to wander into the deverbal noun territories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do I even fully understand what that is? No. Am I here for it anyway? Yes.
But do you know what a verb is?
Yes.
Actually, I'm not sure if I could concisely define what a verb is. At
Action.
This point. Well, some often, but not.
It's close enough.
It's basically, the idea is that it maybe would help to work out what do our nouns do in this language, what do our verbs do, and what the difference is.
And I have several ideas on those fronts.
Because in theory, I feel like it would be. It's not. I want to be very clear. This isn't a gimmick when it happens in general, but would we go the route of every nominal? In our proto language, we have a distinction between noun roots and verb roots, although they don't behave. No, they do behave differently because of word order. But there is no proto. At this point, I think you could say that every bit of morphology in Asdodiria comes afterwards, I think. Because we're not moving the noun morphology over, are we? Any of it?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
And so one of my ideas, basically so what used to be nouns in the Seedlang in Charartus become verbal classifiers, and then most things that are nouns that would be like syntactically behave like nouns are deverbal. So the reason why I think that might be fun is because like this is like at the end of the day, this is a naming language, right? So it would be, as it seems to me, useful if the language was built in such a way to facilitate the creation of names. And I think classifiers or classificatory verbs or verbal prefixes or what have you are just a very fun way of doing that. Because like, shall we have an example? If I
made a grammar section.
Oh, you beat me. I'm over here like trying to figure out where to put it. Aerosolized wasabi is a dragon breath weapon?
Oh.
That would be very fun.
I've only ever had wasabi one time, and it was by accident. I was actually in Tokyo at a sushi place, and I'd never had eel before, unagi, and a friend of mine got one for me, and it was just, the unagi on the top and then the rice, and I tried it. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. And so I reached for another one, and what I didn't know was that one, for some reason, just sandwiched in between the eel and the rice was like a big chunk of wasabi that was just completely hidden from view. And so I very enthusiastically bit into it, and it pretty much blew my head off. And so I decided that I did not like wasabi after that point.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Are there eels in Pillar World?
There will be certainly, well, almost certainly, eel-like animals, because eels as a group are not monophyletic. They have what we would think of as eels have evolved independently dozens and dozens of times. Like the electric eel is not actually a true eel. It's a kind of knife fish. So there'll definitely be some anguilliform varieties of aquatic animals.
Yeah, I would think that tracks. I haven't focused too much on the like water things, because it's all like river lake things that are actually like there, and I'm just kind of like, oh, there's stuff. Haven't gotten there. But yeah, probably there's gonna be stuff there. Yeah.
So my perspective on this mainly comes from what I did in Illothwy, which was largely inspired by the sorts of things that happen in like Navajo and Cherokee and Comanche and Kashaya and various other North American languages. So basically, if I can think of a decent example, so in Illothwy, or in the proto-language for Illothwy, you could say something like Ngui Kthafra. And so Ngui means rock, and Kthafra means I give it to you. So it means like I give you the rock. But then Illothwy went through a stage where there was rampant noun incorporation. So the word ngui got sucked into the verb. So that became, oh boy, is it? I think it is Kthanguithra, something like that. And that's literally like, I rock give you. So you can just suck the direct object straight into the verb, which in and of itself is very fun and has lots of other potential ramifications for how the language could work,
Mm.
which I will very happily talk about at a later point. But for now, if we just focus on the fact that there were certain words, certain very commonly used nouns that got sucked into the verb so frequently that they basically just got stuck there and just gradually worn down. So now this has become thung. Yeah, I think it's thungwithra. And that means I give you something.
Like, I give it to you?
Something small and vaguely round.
Okay.
It's sort of lost its initial meaning of rock, and now it's just a classifier that you use when the object of the verb is something small and vaguely spherical.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I say, I give you an apple, I don't know, then you would use this verb. And so now the verb to give cannot occur without a classifier. So it is now, in the modern form of the language, basically grammatically impossible to say, like, just, I give it to you. Like, that's just not specific enough. The verb has to have a classifier in there. And so the reason why this is fun is because, at least the way it works in the Lothway, is you have a whole series of several dozen classifiers that each have, relatively general meanings, but you can combine them in various ways. And with only a very small number of verb roots, you can build up these very sort of compositional meanings. So, like, off the top of my head, one that I kind of like, if I can remember what the word is, I think it's so if you take the verb jak, which means to cling to or to stick to, and then if you put that in the habitual, which is also the agentive, you get something that means like it clings to, or it sticks to, or if you're using it as a noun, it could just mean like sticker, something that sticks. And then if you combine that with the classifier he, which means on a surface or on the outer side of something. So hijakthi, or no, hijakchi means it clings to a surface. And then if you combine that with the underwater classifier, which is, I think it's ithijakchi, and that literally is it clings to a surface underwater, and that is the word for barnacle. That's what a barnacle is. It sticks to surfaces under the water. So basically the point is that by having this system of like several dozen little nominal elements combining with the verb, you can build up these quite complex meanings. So if you wanted to have a name that meant something like, the people that build houses on the cliff top, it would be relatively straightforward to make a system where you could just sort of stack all of those together.
That would be cool. I like that. Is there would there be paths for using things like that for names?
So,
Are you aware of like when you get translations of a lot of North American names in particular, you get quite a lot that are like I feel like maybe it's not the best example. Like you have like a verb and a noun, but it's all one thing, and it's like running deer or sitting squirrel. That's not one Sitting Bull is famous, but I thought a squirrel sitting would be cuter. Anyway.
Well, I heard hunting squirrel is what I heard, and I was like, oh, okay.
Hunting or punting?
Hunting with a P.
That's very cute. Quite Oxfordian.
Mm-hmm.
When the Algonquian languages conquer the UK, we'll have punting squirrel.
So it would be very straightforward, if not likely, that this language would have a way of turning a verb into a meaning of one who does such and such. So
yes,
you could just have the one who goes walking in the woods sometimes.
Yeah,
that could be a name.
I like that. Ooh. Okay. I like that. No. Okay. Sorry, I've been having like side thoughts about this. My brain has been doing very strange things the last week. It's like ping pong not ping pong. What's the thing with the little paddles and the little ball that goes like ding 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 ding.
Pinball.
Pinball. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't even know where that's going. Let's go back to what we were talking about. It's already gone.
Yep. You don't want to center some of your side thoughts.
Yeah. We'll just let them keep. The root of it is I've been deciding that there are some like side story ideas that I feel like I should just like stick them on pillars as an inspiration for the ideas, and even if I don't end up doing that story there, it could be something to give context to things. And I did have a thought.
What was the thought? What was the thought? Or can you not share with the class?
I have a few of them that I haven't figured out where I want them to go yet. So I don't want us to like start thinking about it and like assign it and like start thinking about it. Oh, well, but if it's this one, you know what I mean? But it's a gear.
You do have the thing that like on some level, all of these cultures are connected through the like original culture.
But that was like a long time ago.
I mean,
maybe it's somewhere like a not small number of thousands of years, tops 10,000 years.
10 is quite a small number of thousands of years.
For like things to like culturally stick around in a like significant branching manner.
I mean, you do have to go quite far back for the Indo-European stuff to be like properly Indo-European-y.
Then maybe I should like make a little like page of like some of the thoughts for the different ideas we have, and then I can always like,
But yeah, like if you, part of it is like, if you have an idea that you think this is what I want it to be like now, you can always, if you figure out where you want it to come from, you can just share that bit. It was the dawn of agriculture, and that sure caught on, didn't it? We're still doing that now.
Yeah.
10,000 is insane for culture.
One of the most dominant things, well, maybe not most dominant, but something that would be fairly impactful will be each of these like cluster regions will have different like magic systems, sort of, because like whichever like entity, I've been in my head and thinking of them as like different like deities or something that like use their magic to create the pillars in a certain region, and they left different magic there, and that way I can write a lot of different stories to different places using different magic systems, but whatever that magic system would be pretty impactful in different places.
I am at pains to point out that technically 10,000 years ago was the dawn of human agriculture. Ants developed agriculture at least 55 million years ago, so they've got quite the head start on us.
fair. Yeah. It's not necessarily a full 10,000 years, but yeah, it's a significant amount of time, but also like it's not going to be super duper explicitly, like it's not going to be a thing how many years it's been. It's going to be more like each of these places will have some sort of mythos or stories or legends of like the time before and how they got to the world, and like that'll turn into different like myths and stuff. So like it's not like the exact time isn't super important, but it would be interesting if there's little bits and pieces of similarities to add cohesiveness, even if it's not super like has to be that way. Would be interesting.
Sure. Yeah. So in terms of, so in case it wasn't already clear, a deverbal noun is you take a verb and do something to it and it turns into a noun. And now it's used like a noun. And so deverbal nouns can be quite diverse in terms of what meaning you get out of it once you turn the verb into the noun. But I'd say the main ones, like the ones that you're very likely to have, number one is an agentive. So that's where, you turn the verb into someone that does the verb customarily. So like eat becomes like eater. Then you've got you occasionally have like a specific like passive.
No, pascentive.
Yeah, pascentive. I was about to ask what the term is, but yeah, pascentive form.
I feel like saying it with the God coalescence is quite I think it's how I would probably say it.
Patient hive.
Yeah, I think it would be. It's probably just one of those words that I've not said aloud very often.
We don't really have like a pascentive nominalizer in English. I mean, you can use like eaten as a noun in some contexts, I guess. It's a lot more like in Spanish, where you have the verb like comer, which is to eat, and then comer, and then that becomes comida, which is literally the eaten thing, but it means like food. Then you also occasionally get a special form for the instrument that you use to carry out the verb, which again, English doesn't really do very much, but you could take a verb like to eat and get like eating utensil or something. Something that helps you eat. Also a locative, I guess it would be called, like where the verb happens. So like an eating place could be like a cafeteria.
An eatery.
Yes, an eatery. Am I missing any? Those are like the main ones. This is not at all an exhaustive list. You can go really crazy.
You got some of these end up being more specific. Like I'm aware of like a fair number of different like forms where it's like that does a lot of something, which is, it can be locative, or it's like it's a place where there is a lot of doing something, or it's agentive and it's someone who does a lot of this thing. It's kind of about like iconicity, I guess. Like how associated with the verb is the thing that is happening.
Yeah, you can sometimes, like in the English example, there's not really a very clear divide between the agentive and the instrument form. Like, I'm trying to think of a decent example. The only thing I can immediately think of is like lawnmower. Like, I think most people would say that a lawnmower is the machine that you use to mow the lawn. But you could also say, like, that person is a lawnmower. Like, or I got a job as a lawnmower or something like that. So it can refer to both the person that does the action, but also the thing that they use to carry out the action. So they can be kind of broad in that sense, or they can be absurdly specific, which this is one of my favorite things to do in languages in general, is to come up with crazy derivational things. Like one that I did in Adun, which is, I thought turned out quite fun, is there's a specific suffix that you can put on a verb to create the, what the hell is that? Byproduct. There we go. Or like some sort of like secondary result of the verb. It doesn't really work with eat, but the example that immediately comes to my mind is if you have a verb like to burn, and put this suffix on it, it becomes hashes, because it's like the thing that's left over after the verb happens. And you can go way more, there are some languages that have like dozens and dozens and dozens of these. So it entirely depends on the direction you want to go. One thing that I will mention while it occurs to me is that if you're going to use these routinely in coming up with names of things, then it might be good to have a bit of variety, because otherwise, like, if you just have one suffix for locations, then pretty much everything is going to end the same way, which can get a little bit monotonous.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to have a decent number of them. Like, I feel like that would be fun, and like we're actually going to be able to use these, like, for sure. So I feel like it's something worth having some fun with.
Cool.
So, and what is this type of thing called again? Just verb classifiers or class?
Nominalization is, I guess, the catch-all term, but specifically deverbal strategies, because there are other kinds of normalization. Normalization is just turning things into nouns in general, but this is, specifically turning verbs into nouns.
Okay. Because I want to make a little, like, section for that, because we'll also need to have a section at stuff for our complex modal stuff.
Complex modal Sutherland.
Yeah. Okay.
I know several people from Sutherland, and they do have quite complex moods at times.
Perfect. We'll embrace it.
I'd forgotten about this. Was the complex modal stuff specifically for this language?
I think we discussed it, like, it came up in context of using it for this one. We don't have to, like, we can move it somewhere else, but it's one of those little, like, ideas we had.
The Unwilling Mountain. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
See, you were saying Sutherland, and I was thinking Sunderland, and I was like, the complex moods of the time and weir.
I also know several people from Sunderland.
That's good.
Someone had a very specific set of sounds that they like for naming things in the UK.
See, I have another thing to bring up. It doesn't have much to do with anything that we're talking about, but it's just...
We could add a section for it.
Go for it. Indulge in a tangent.
Yes.
Because I want to talk about verbal plurals.
Ooh.
If most things in this language that look like nouns are actually verbs, then the question is, how do you pluralize them? And it could be that there is just a standard noun plural that you can just put onto any of these nominalizations, I think that would be fine. Or if we wanted to do something a little bit more, not even necessarily exotic, but just different, we could say that there is a way of specifying the plurality on the verb itself before the nominalization happens. So, like, for example, if we say that, so like it's reasonably common for languages to form the agentive noun just through like a habitual tense marker, for example. So like in Nahuatl does this. So if you want to say, what's a good example? A couple of examples immediately come to mind, and they all have like weird exceptions that would just make things confusing. So I'm just going to have to come up with something on the spot. So let's say you wanted to say, let's just go with eater, because that's just what we did earlier. So, so to say eater, you take the verb qua, and then you just stick the suffix ni on the end, and ni is the habitual. So technically, this is just a verb, and it just means he, she, they eat.
What's about the it using community?
Yes, and it as well.
Just put 3.
That would probably have been a more efficient way of doing that. Yeah.
It's fine.
But if you want to say eaters, like if this were a noun, if this guani was actually behaving in the way that nouns usually behave, then the plural would be like quanimet or something, because met is like the standard plural marker. But that's not what you do. Instead, you change the person marking. Because there's, again, this is not a great example because the third person is kind of...
there's a zero morpheme bib, and we all know it, don't we, David? Yeah. We all know that there's a secret morpheme that you can't see hiding on the page that you snuck in there while we were distracted.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right there.
That nothingness is signifying that it's a third person singular doing this thing. So when you want to say eaters, you just, the third person plural also is marked by the same invisible prefix, but it also comes with a special, anytime the subject is plural, and we'll get back to this in a second, but every time the subject is plural, you have to put a glottal stop after the verb, which in the romanization is represented with an H. So that literally means they eat. So does that make sense in terms of the nuance that I'm introducing here? That rather than having, just repurposing like noun morphology, you just change one of the person markers on the verb. You just change the agreement.
So it's plurality marking for the hold on. Subject is the person doing the noun?
The subject is the person doing the action.
The verb. Yeah. So is it the subject that's pluralized or the verbing that's pluralized?
Well, this is also an ergative language, so it would be
That was sort of where I was going to go next, because we could say that this pluralization thing is just exclusive to the person marking on the verb. So you basically have one, I would imagine in this case, prefix that means he, she, they, it does such and such, and then that prefix would change depending on whether or not there was more than one actor or But
Right.
it's also reasonably common for languages to, in addition to that, have something else on the verb that also has to agree in terms of plurality. So like in the Nahuatl example here, you do have a slot here at the front that agrees with the subject in person and number, but you also have a slot at the end of the verb that agrees with whether or not the subject is plural, regardless of any other factor, which makes some conjugations quite fun because you have to tell the difference between, like, if you say tikwa means you eat, but tikwa means we eat. And good luck telling those apart in rapid speech. So yeah, sometimes there is like a specific marker on the verb that is basically just, is there more than one participant involved in this action? And the way it works in Nahuatl, it always only refers to the subject. Whether or not the object is plural is irrelevant. It's as long as the subject is plural, you put an H at the end. Whereas in a language like Navajo, Navajo has a special prefix da that you put on any verb, and it is completely ambiguous as to whether it refers to the subject or the object. All it means is that either one or both of the arguments are plural. And I actually read a paper about this, and apparently there is a very slight preference to interpret it as a plural object, but it can be used either way. So it could be just completely ambiguous, or, as Jake points out, this is the verby ergative language. Interesting.
I don't know if it's easy or not for you to tell us what that would be.
To do what?
Because you could always, even if it's ergative, you could still mark the number of the subject on the verb, but you would probably do it with the object also.
Well, what I was thinking is that we could say that the verbal plural marker behaves ergatively in the sense that it agrees with the subject of an intransitive verb and the object of a transitive verb. So, like, if you wanted to say, they are sleeping, that would be like sleep with the plural on it. So it's like sleeping is happening to more than one person, and because there's only one argument, there's no like confusion about what the plural refers to. Whereas if you say I am eating cookies, that would be like I eat, or like, let's go noun incorporation, I cookie eat.
Yeah.
And then plural. And because this is a transitive verb, we know that this is referring to plural cookies, not plural I. Because if it was plural I, then it would be we are eating the cookie. So that would be like a classically ergative pattern, which, depending on how ergative we wanted to go with this language, that would kind of fit the vibe.
That would be fun. I could see how that would come into play with like naming things too.
And specifically, an idea that I've been wanting to use, I've not yet had the opportunity to use this, but we could go for it here if you like the sound of it.
Okay.
Because one way that we could get something like this is, and I actually brought this up in the World Building Festival for Miles's diachronic drafting game, because I came across this cool thing that Olutec does, where in Olutec, the verb that means to finish has become a verbal plural marker that behaves like this in like an ergative way. And when I first came across it, I just thought that was really weird, because why would a verb for to finish mean that there are multiple participants involved. But if you think about it, if I were to say something like, I have finished eating the cookies, then that implies that there are no cookies left, right? And so you could rephrase that as like, I have eaten all of the cookies. And if you say, I've eaten all of the cookies, then logically there must have originally been more than one cookie. So therefore, plural. So it would be really easy to say that if we had a verb that originally meant to finish, if like in a serial verb construction or something, that just got slammed onto the front of a verb, and then that becomes like a prefix for, this plural thing.
That's kind of interesting.
We have like no verbs yet also, which helps the situation.
We have the verbs that are the Asdasiria verbs, right?
Yeah, we have a handful, but not as many as we have nouns.
Yeah, so this is like the opposite of Asdasiria, because in Asdasiria you only have like 6 or 7 verbs, and like everything else is a noun. This is like the opposite of that. Everything is a verb, and there's like 12
all
nouns.
verbs all the time.
Yes.
I do think that's fun. Someone's asking about I'm not sure if that's a statement or a question, but a terminative completive distinction? Or would it just be used?
I'm not exactly sure how that would manifest. If there's a specific, you say I've seen it in on that line, but forget where. It would depend how broadly they were used, I guess. But we could totally go crazy with aspect if we wanted to.
I feel like we shouldn't go crazy with everything. Or we get problems.
This. I don't think this is going to be as bad as the weird numbers situation.
What?
So I vote that in this language, for nouns, and by which I mean true nouns, not these deverbal nouns, if there are any, or there will be
fake
at least
nouns.
some original nouns, that there is no number marking on the noun at all. You just have to look at the verb, and the verb tells you all the information because of the verbal plural marker.
Brilliant.
Because this was like, I remember when I first properly looked into a lot of the very strongly head marking languages you find in the Americas, and I just love that there's a lot of the European languages really like to, or not even really the European languages, but like with something like case marking is very helpful. Like, it's basically just a little thing on every noun that tells you exactly what that noun is doing. And just by looking at that, you can just piece together how everything fits together. But in these languages, you just get a whole bunch of nouns with no marking on them at all. And they can, in a lot of cases, they can just come in any order. So it's just like a whole just list of things. And then you have to wait until you get to the verb, which has this huge battery of prefixes that tell you how it all fits together. And I really like that, but that's just a personal preference.
It allows us to put a lot in there. Yeah, I don't see anything I'm opposed to there as of this, although, once we get to like, we could always change things in the grandchildren if we have to, if it gets too bad.
You can always remove your poor choices by leniting them out of existence.
Yeah, so it's fine for now. If I come to regret doing too many things and it makes all the names confusing, which like right now I feel like this is just going to be epic. That's how I feel, but also I know that yeah.
I think the plural from Finnish is a fun one.
Yeah, I've been meaning to use that for a while, but I guess this is the time to do it. So
we have to. We need the original cartas, don't we?
We do. Did we write that down somewhere?
Yes, we did. I got you.
Karatros.
Oh, we never decided what it was going to mean.
No, so if I'm just thinking on the fly here, but like, if this word refers to the people as like a demonym, then this could be like a plural verb form that means something like, you know, they live in the mountains or something. I don't know. That's just an example, but that would mean that somewhere in here there is a verbal plural. One of these elements is signifying that there's more than one of them. Alternatively, if we say that this is a name for just the language, then it could be like an instrument. Like just off the top of my head, maybe this us ending is like the instrument, and then the other part is like to speak. So it's like the thing that you use to speak, and that means like language. Yeah, those are my immediate ideas.
Trying to remember what we have in the proto right now, because I mean we can have different words for things, so it's not really the end of the world either way. So I can't remember if we have mountain, because I do like the idea of that, because I know we have like pillars and all of that shenanigan. Oh, we do have a word for mountain, but it could be like something.
I mean, like Jarl is a pretty nice short little element there. That could become something else potentially.
Yeah. I think I like the idea of it meaning language. Although yeah, I think I lean in that direction.
Okay.
Isn't a mason a bricklayer? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, how much elevation variation occurs on a pillar? The same thing you would come across on a similar Earth-like patch of land that size. Nothing too crazy for the ones people live on, probably, but yeah.
You get mountains and islands.
Yeah. Do pillar languages have the same word for coast and cliff edge? I mean, those are like, they exist in the proto, at least, from the Sepal.
Do they even have like are there even coasts in general? Like, do the pillars just sort of jut completely out of the sea?
Yeah.
And there's no like...
There's no real coast anymore.
There, so yeah.
I mean, like, for like a lake, maybe, like... You would probably use like a word for like bank or shore or something like that. But yeah, there's just the edge of the cliff, edge of the pillar.
So if we do go with the instrument route, we'll say that it's the word for language, then just one thing to sort of keep in mind is that then is not going to be obviously applicable to any particular... Like, this is something that I've probably overdone in a lot of my languages, where like with Nakashti, you know, the people in Nakashta speak Nakashti. That's pretty straightforward. But with like Adun, like the people in Sanur speak Edun, like they don't speak Sanuri or something. So like you just kind of have to, I don't know, it's like one sort of extra step for the reader, I guess.
Well,
So
I mean, I
they
probably wouldn't use the language name in the book. I think that would be, I mean, like it could happen, but for the most part, these places are going to be pretty isolated and not likely to communicate with other people. So like they could still interact with different languages. I guess it's possible, but would they also then have, I feel like they would also be using more specific terminology for the places too, you know, like, yeah, I think it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, cool. Well, if you're happy with that, we can totally do it. Like, in fact, in like Ilothwy, the my language, the name translates to the verb is oth. Yeah, the verb is oth, and that is to speak. And then we is the peshentive ending, and then the il prefix is the classifier for words. So Ilothwy literally means it is spoken with words. So we could totally do something like that.
Okay. So if one of these is like our instrumentive or some instrumental type thing, then we could either have, would there be any purpose of having any plural or any other type of thing that we could pull in there?
I mean,
like another thing.
It could be that the name of the language in and of itself is plural, because like it could be like they are spoken, and it refers to like the words of the people collectively.
Yeah, because that's what I was sort of imagining, something that could sort of be translated to something like the shared words of whatever, like the use of the shared words or something like that.
This plural from Finnish, in theory, you could have a stage before it becomes generalized where it only marks I've forgotten the counterpart to
Peshentive?
Absolutive.
Oh.
Where you... No, is that the right word? I don't think it was actually what I was thinking of. I think it would end up being like actually accusative, in the sense that you only use it with a plural object. If it's from the I've finished the thing, then the implication being that the I guess it's like if I finished the No, I think it does work for not singulars, intransitive as well, doesn't it? Like if you finish washing, it implies you've done all of the well, I guess that's an implied transitivity. Like, I guess if you finish sleeping, it doesn't imply that you finish sleeping many sleeps.
Yeah.
Well, like it implies that it's like a multi-step process, I guess. But
when I go to sleep, it is a multi-step process.
You have multiple REM cycles.
So,
Ilothwy generally doesn't like loan words generally, and because of the way the refugium cosmology works, they have a word for I can't actually remember what I called it in English now, but the equivalent of dawn and dusk, when the sun moves into and out of eclipse. Can't remember what they are, but they have them.
Fair.
Yeah, so it could be an instrument, like it is used to speak, or it could be pagentive, like it is spoken. So I think either one of those would be justifiable.
I bet we go with instrument or instrumentive, because then it's more separate from stuff we'd have in like places and stuff.
Sure. So it could be structured like one uses it to speak.
Yeah.
And if we go with that, then we have a subject. So now we're getting onto the issue of person marking, because it could just be a null third person subject. That would probably be the easiest way to handle it, to just say if the subject is third person, there's just no person marking. It's like a Nahuatl. It's just like a blank slot in the template. And so it would mean he, she, it, they uses it to speak. Or if we wanted to, we could have a specific person marker for indefinites. So it's not just he, she, or it does something. It's one, or someone does something, you know.
So then if we did that, then would that need to go like be this first thing?
I would suspect, in fact, that might actually be worth.
Well, it's verb final.
Yeah, so I would suspect that the verb template would be something like person marking would come first. So you would have the subject and then the object, because the order in the proto-lang is SOV. So the subject and the object would naturally just glom on in that order. And then you would have an incorporated noun, potentially. Incorporated noun / classifier. Then you would have verbal plural marking. Then you would have the actual verb itself. And then you would have the nominalization.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You could. Are you like serial verb constructioning the verb order?
Say that one more time.
Are you serial verb constructioning the verb order? Because I think it's symbolic enough that if you wanted the plural at the end, I think you could say that you blank finish.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking that you just stack them in just because of the iconicity of just I finish, eat, you know, but we could totally justify the other way around as well.
Okay.
Like you eat something and then you finish. So whichever one we like better.
Okay.
And actually, while it occurs to me, I'm just going to throw this in there as well. Directionals / associated motion. So this is something that a surprising number of languages do. I think it's like over a third of the world's languages have some way of indicating like direction on the verb. So like just like Nahuatl, because it's the one I'm most familiar with, has two parallel sets of directionals that interact with each other in weird ways. But sticking with the basic ones, you've got a translocative,
Mm.
which is also sometimes called the andative, and is also sometimes called the itive or itive.
Mm.
And that just means like going or doing something, motion away from.
Mm.
And then you've got the cislocative, also called the venative, or sometimes just the ventive. I don't know why they have so many names. And that's like coming towards.
Right.
And so in Nahuatl, you have two little prefixes, one for each of those, and you can put them on just about any verb. So, like, you can say, like, if you have the verb that means to eat, you can say, like, I am eating in a general that way direction, or like in a this way direction, which I'm sure there's some context in which that would make sense, but also they can sometimes be used for like temporal deixis as well, and like, you know, it's reasonably common to say something like, you know, if you say like I am eating in a that way direction, that sort of implies into the future. It's actually kind of like in English, if you say something like I'm going to do this going forward, that doesn't literally mean moving forward. It means like continuously into the future. Whereas the cislocative can be used meaning like up until now. So yeah, those are just the basic two, but there are plenty of languages that divide them into further, more specific distinctions than that. And so that if we had these as part of the verbal complex, then you could conceivably make names for places that are like, you know, they live towards the mountain, or, you know, or they go through the woods. You could add like add positional meanings and sort of have them wrapped up inside the verb.
I like that. And now I want some weird ones. So I feel like that'll need to be a thing. Because one of the things that popped into my head was like, oh, what if it's like there's a weird Uber specific one that just means specifically like coming from the fog or something, or like stuff like that, you know, going into the fog. I don't know.
But you'd probably in that case maybe make fog a classifier.
Oh yeah, you could totally have a specific classifier for fog.
And you could have I was checking my Quechua grammar, and you could have like an inductive one, which is like movement that is inwards, in the sense it's coming out of the. Like, you also sometimes they're done by the movement of the thing, and sometimes it's relative to the speaker. Because for one of the relays, I had to translate from one of Keris's languages. Which, do you know who Keris is, Maddie? Yeah, we've met.
Keris brought me a beer.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot that we were all hanging out in meat space together.
There are pictures.
And I completely messed up the meaning of all of the associated motion because I got confused between whether it was relative to the speaker or the. No, I think I knew about relative to speaker versus relative to subject, but it was relative to the focus of the sentence that really got me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones in Nahuatl are kind of vague on that front. Like, most of the time, it's kind of assumed to be relative to the speaker, but they can be used just, you know, relative to whatever you're talking about. But there's also, while I'm on the subject, like I said, there's actually like a parallel set of these. You've got the standard coming and going ones, but then you have a whole, those are the two specific prefixes. But then there's also a set of suffixes for what's called purposive motion, which is specifically the meaning of coming or going in order to do something. So like, I am going, like I eat goingly would just mean like I am eating as I go along, but using the purposive motion, it would be like I go there specifically so that I can eat, which is just a weird shade of meaning. And just it also gives rise to one of my favorite words, which is the verb dona, which means to shine or to cast light. And then with the purposive motion suffix, it's a little bit more complicated than I'm framing it, but it comes out as tiu. So that literally means it goes along casting light. And that is the word for the sun, which I just thought is a really cool word for sun.
That is cool. The first thing that popped in my head when you said about that one was that you just have like a little marker that means, and I mean business. It's not quite the same thing, but yeah.
In Quechua, they have one which is called the cis-trans locative. So you have punyu, which means to sleep, but punyumu would be to sleep in a place that you don't usually sleep.
That's fun.
But in for a non-transitive sentence, it means that the oh no, sorry, it's not that you don't usually sleep, it's that the sleeping happened in a place that is distinct to where the other verb happened. So if you were like, oh, I went to the market and then I slept, you would have to specify that you didn't sleep at the market. So by using this suffix, you convey the sense that the location was somewhere else. And if you use it with kari, it means it's in the sense of like to go back somewhere.
That is also another pretty common. It may or may not be tied up with directionals, but something that you sometimes see is the diversitive, which is sometimes just not diversitive.
We've got the sound bite of you saying not diversity now, Brig.
Oh, please, not diversity. So yeah, the diversitive is basically to do something like here and there, or like in a sort of disparate fashion, which I also think is quite fun and useful for derivation. Like I'm trying to find the word because I have my Alothwe document open and I can't find it for some reason, but the word in Alothwe for archipelago, or like a cluster of islands, is, I can't remember what the actual verb root is, but it's like the islands that are here and there, it's the islands that are like scattered about. And so it's the verb with this diversitive directional on it. So it means like scattered about.
That is fun.
There's one of those in Quechua and Aymara as well, which gets called the oscillative.
Oh,
which I think is fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
The oscillative, that's a new one.
Well, the problem with this grammar is that it was written by, like, they all studied Latin at some point, but like I don't think they necessarily cared quite what the usual words are for things. And they're doing it in Spanish, and so like they sometimes will just coin things without realizing that there is a standard word for it in at least in English that they aren't using. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I might have to give myself some homework of like looking some of these up and collecting some fun ones.
I don't know if they're in Jesse's book or not.
Well, they are in there, as George has pointed out. They are in there. There's a specific conlangery episode about associated motion. So, and that has like a list of possible ones. So that's probably a good place to start.
There's a Doc William found with a giant list of AM directional markers. Okay. Let me.
It's not in the index of concepts. That will have to go in how to make better languages.
Okay.
It's a good name.
I will have to find that. Yes. Let's like keep these noted there next to it so that I remember what I was talking about. So those will all be with that. Okay. So, I mean, I guess if we ended up having one of those, I don't know if we need to use one of those in the name, but if this...
Probably not.
They speak it here and there.
Yeah, if it's not a very well-known or like abundantly spoken language. You know?
Well, no, the Quechua one, sorry, the oscillative must be slightly different then. It just means like from one place to another.
Okay.
Rather than like sporadically.
Yeah, I think in Navajo, there's a specific diversitive aspect. And I think that I could be misremembering, but I think that has like the connotation of being like scattered about. Navajo also has one called the cursive, which is specifically doing something in a straight line in time or space. And there's another one that I can't find for some reason, but I remember it. It's the seriative, yes. Is
to do something in Syria.
Yes, you only use it while you're in Syria. No. It is taking a single step in a complex series or multi-step process. And there's also, while I'm at it, in Mohawk, I don't know why, but they've got a specific aspect called the ambulative, which you use whenever the verb happens or involves walking in any way. Just in general, if walking is involved, then you use the ambulative. Anyway.
Okay. I'm just like writing up some like various ideas for how we could form our word from the pieces we have, because we sort of have like 3 pieces that we can have in there.
In terms of syllables.
Yeah.
You could always just break things up more if you really want. Like you could, like you can sort of like, and also because these are grammatical forms, you could also just say some of these are reduced from what they used to be. Or we say that there are secret 0 morphemes that are doing things.
And it's just implied on everything.
The diversity is 0 marked. Unless otherwise specified, it's just assumed that you just do everything in a very haphazard, scattered fashion.
Yeah, you have to specify if you're actually doing it in a serious manner.
No, it was just reminding me of the intermittent present tense in Guarani, where it's like you do something that you're interrupted while you're doing it. Like, the language that we speak from time to time.
I have fluids now. Okay. Yeah. The problem is that you said that, Jake, and now I'm like, I really like that.
This is what happens when you start reading grammars and things. You're like, oh, that's cool, I'll use it. And then you end up with like 9 9 cases, but you're not allowed to have noun compounds.
Yeah. Well, the idea here, the whole core with all this grammar stuff, right, is that like the verbs are just supposed to vibe really hard, right? I feel like that does that, you know?
I think like some kind of we can assume on some level that the present is unmarked, right?
I would assume that.
Yeah, that's probably the
So
best way to go.
we can save ourselves some of the meaning that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many numbers are in your kitchen sink, but that's basically what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think our verbs are very paired back, and I'm quite happy with that.
Mm. It's fair.
I like the verb system.
That's true, Tinglish. We do have a lot of languages to sprinkle things onto.
Yes.
Okay.
We can shake off the bits we don't like later anyway.
Yeah.
We will get there, I promise.
And yeah, with the granddaughter languages, a lot of the morphology could just sort of get ground down into nothingness, or some of these compounds could become lexicalized, and with lots of other directions you could take it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Okay.
Maddie didn't realize when she said, what if there's a way to say that there are 5 of something, that for every dictionary entry you'd have to work out how to say that's 5.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
It's a feature now.
It is a feature.
Quintals are certainly a very bold choice.
Yes.
I mean, I was the one who originally brought them up, so that's probably...
That's true. We can blame you, Bib. It's all your fault.
It's all your fault.
Okay. I was just trying to give a nice, like, exhaustive list of the possibilities.
And you didn't bring up the sextile or the septal?
I thought anything more than 5 would be too much.
But do you know how many fingers and toes these people have? What if they have 7 fingers and now they can't count them all?
Well, I mean, I guess they don't.
Wow.
It's all one hand counting. That's it.
If they can't count their 5th finger in one word, how will they know it exists?
Exactly. Exactly. And just like Nemo says, what do you mean? I regularly talk about 5 sausages and 5 deaths. It comes up frequently.
I always buy 5 zucchetta.
There you go.
Or zucchette. Anyway.
Okay. What do we think of the idea of having like a directional that's like in a spreading manner, or like an outward in all directions thing?
All directions.
All directions.
Quechua has one that's like adductive, which is movement away and also usually up.
So what would that mean in this particular context, in terms of the name of this language? Like,
they speak it to the heavens.
They speak it
outwardly
in all directions. I don't know. The words that spread to all the people, the words they say to everyone. I don't know.
And now I'm thinking about like reciprocals, like the things we say to each other.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Can reciprocal be a directional?
Reciprocal is specifically a valency thing. So like, I guess we can add that to the verb template. So somewhere in the verb complex, there'll probably be some like, so like some specific form for like a passive, and then optionally something for a reflexive. And then in a small number of languages, there's a difference between a reflexive form and a reciprocal form. So like a reflexive is, you do it to yourself, whereas reciprocal is we do it to each other. But in a lot of cases, those will just be marked the same way, and there might be some like additional verbiage to clarify if need be. I will bring up one of my favorite examples is in Mohawk. You use the same, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but like the reflexive, I want to say it's like ta. I could be wrong on that, but like if you have a word like to see and it's conjugated in like the third person plural or something, so that would be we see ourselves, but then to say we see each other, you say exactly the same thing, except you just reduplicate the reflexive prefix. So it's like self, they see.
Weird.
Also, I don't know why I put third person. That should be first person. So,
but in plural in the Proto is marked through reduplication, right?
Is that in the? Did we say that that was in the seedling itself, or did that emerge on the way to Asdosiria?
Number in the seedling is marked by partial initial reduplication.
Okay.
So we'll have to deal with that.
Well, not necessarily. Like we could, again, just say that in the line to Charartus, they've just abandoned the idea of nominal plural entirely. They just
That's true.
Yeah,
and they
we have
steal another
plural
word.
now. That's all we need. Let's just
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Okay. Okay. So if we wanted to have 4 parts, and if we wanted to have a plural, and then a verb, and then a reciprocal valency thing, and then the instrumentive nominalizer, I get 10 points if I said all those words correctly. We would need 4 pieces, so we'd be with this one maybe, or...
So the reciprocal in this instance, it's like they use it to speak to each other? Is that what we're going for?
Yeah, something like that.
So...
Oh, it may not work. It doesn't... I don't think it sounds... I don't know if you would usually have a reciprocal on a verbal form.
That is a little unusual.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we could just keep it simple. Have this and go with like...
Don't forget the possibility of a classifier.
True. If we want to pull something in.
It's totally feasible for there to be a classifier that just means like words or speech or something along those lines.
Sausage.
Yes.
Death. No.
One uses it to speak
to each other.
Death words.
That would be a curse.
My brain, I'm like trying to like get my brain to be like, okay, what is the word we're typing? And my brain is just like death. And I'm like, no, that's not the word.
Sounds like something you should talk to a specialist about.
Okay. So like we could have like word.
Yeah, so like they use it to word speak. Oh, this is actually an important point to bring up. In terms of noun incorporation, noun incorporation very often acts as a valency reducing operation. So if you say it like, I see the tree, in that sentence, see is transitive because it's acting on the tree, which is the object. But if you incorporate it, you say, I tree see. Yeah, I tree see. that in that instance, the verb is behaving intransitively because the object that's been sucked inside of the verb will usually not behave in the way that a typical object will. So that means that for the ergative plural marking, that means that if we have an incorporated noun, potentially one of these classifiers could trigger this, then the plural marking would refer to the subject, not the object. This wouldn't mean like I see trees. It would mean like we see the tree.
Right.
Or since it's been incorporated, it would probably be ambiguous for plurality. And actually, another thing that kind of relates to that is because noun incorporation is valency reducing, that has implications for the case system, because normally, if you say, yeah, I see the tree, then I would be in the ergative because it's the agent of a transitive verb, and then tree would be in the absolutive. But then once tree gets sucked into the verb, it's very rare for an incorporated object to keep its case marking. So it would probably just be left blank, just as the word tree would be 0 marked. Whereas I, by incorporating the object, the verb is now intransitive, and so now I would not be in the ergative, it would be in the absolutive. So it would be kind of the equivalent of saying, like, it would be like if in English you could say, like, I see the tree, but you can't say, I tree see. You have to say, like, me tree see.
Okay.
So, like, just by looking at the case marking, you can tell whether or not an object has been incorporated.
So if we were naming things, right? Any classifiers we added would make it wouldn't be using the ergative. It would be, okay, but that's, okay. So it's, yes, cool. Yes, I like it. Good. Very good. My brain was like, oh, then we're not really using the ergativeness. And I'm like, no, wait, that's what happens. That's fine. We're good. Took my brain an extra cycle there to connect all the dots. Okay.
You don't have to have every single noun be incorporable. Like, it is usually a more basic noun. But I think it depends on the language and like how opaque things are. Because if we're saying that they do this really early on, then I don't know how much these verbs are going to be easily identifiable anymore. Especially with like the vowel harmony stuff.
Vowel harmony? Oh, the mutation.
The mutations, yeah.
Oh boy, we're going vowel harmony.
I was like, what do we do?
Where was I when this conversation happened?
Okay. So if we add the classifier and have word, does the plural still stay here, or would that need to?
Again, it's kind of up to you in terms of whether the plural comes before or after the verb, because the plural is coming from a verb that means to finish.
Right.
So it's like
word, finish, speak. Word, speak.
Yeah, I word, finish, speak, or I word, speak, finish.
Would you use the instrumental and the word classifier together, or is that a bit overkill?
Well, the instrumental is like how it's being used as a noun,
the denominalizing thing, isn't it?
Could we put the plural between? Well, I don't know about the valency part, but between the verb and the
nominalizer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which side of the valency would it go on?
We will probably have to figure that out once we get to valency, because
Yeah.
that will
Leave
be
it there
like a
for
whole
now.
separate kettle of fish.
Okay. So if we did that. Okay. So it could be like this.
Mm-hmm.
Where have I already? Oh, here. Word down. Okay. We're drifting slowly.
Continentally.
Yes. Slowly drifting. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we've got our 4 different elements there.
Which would lean towards this one.
Mm.
Which, then ka would be word, ra would be speak. Ra.
I mean, I will say that tro is a little bit hefty for a verbal plural, just at least for my my liking. Yeah, something like ro I think would be a lot more applicable. Of course, we have to take into account that metathesis is going to mean that r sometimes ends up inside the verb root, because after the
So
sound
that's
changes,
fun.
yeah, harartus, which means that like the verb that means to speak on its own will be like rat, but specifically if it means speaking to more than one person, then it becomes rart with an R sort of infixed in there.
Okay.
Well, rarto.
Rarto, yeah.
I think the vowel is useful as a vowel.
Yeah.
The
Vowels are quite useful as
very
vowels.
unuseful.
Okay.
Also, I think we could have whatever our instrumental comes from. Maybe we probably do need a form that's like CV for if the like is the instrumental always going to be used with the plural, or
probably not.
Then we probably want something that like a repair strategy for the vowel.
So it's not just like, yeah. Or could it be something that like just got like, it could be more things, but in this word it just got shortened or something, lost? I don't know.
But that's what this would be. So
Okay.
like if it was like a proto stage, like the or something,
Right. Yeah.
and then you'd be like karatrosu, and they're like, oh, I've said so many vowels, I don't want to say that one.
Yeah. We just got lost at some point.
Yeah. Whereas if you're like, oh, karatsu, that's like, I've not said enough vowels, I'm gonna keep that one. Especially because we wouldn't allow a word to end as karats.
Can I end with a schwa?
That's a vowel, Maddie. You can't take the vowelness away from the schwa.
Okay. Okay.
But it can end with a schwa in the proto-lang, right?
Yeah. If you want it to be like really weak.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if we're losing it, why not? Like if it gets lost in this.
You can put one in. It's just the most annoying vowel to type of them.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. So we have things, right? We do. So we need to go and put these things in the proto language to mean something, to come from something?
Well, we know that So a lot of these we sort of so we're saying ka equals word.
Yeah.
That equals speak.
Mm.
Wait, don't we have a we have a word for it's say rather than speak, isn't it? And ro equals finish. Fish.
Two N.
Fusion society will rise.
They've infused the fish into their verbs.
Yeah. Well, they probably could. So the plural is from finish. So you probably just want the place would suggest verb, but the thing would suggest noun.
What?
The what would suggest verb? Sorry.
The place, the fact that it's like at the very end. Have we already made forms for
where
pronouns?
that came from in Asdoziria? That's what I was wondering. Like, where did we get that from in here? No, that was different stuff. I don't think we have anything like that in Asdoziria. So I don't know if we would do like, I don't know, hand or something. Is that like where that could come from, or I don't know.
Yeah, feasibly, I think, or just like tool or something. And then if we just say that, we'll probably talk more about like relative clauses later, but if we say that you can just make a relative clause by just, especially since the proto-lang is head final, you could just stick a whole clause in front of a noun and just have that clause modifying the noun. So like the thing that you use to speak words would be the use it to speak words thing. So you could just like put a noun directly after the verbal complex, and then that noun could just sort of stick on. So
we do have pronouns, and they're weird.
Oh, that's true. We do have pronouns.
It's the orp versus oleb thing. Lovely.
Yeah. That could be tool thing. Okay. So okay.
Yeah, that all looks pretty good.
Okay.
Now I want to make another word so we can test it.
Okay, like what?
Can we make a word for fish infusion, please?
Fish infusion?
Yeah.
Both of them together at once?
Like fish infused.
I mean that's a normalization. We can do
Okay.
Infuse. Plural. But this would probably be like fishentive, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So we don't have that yet, but we can make it an instrument. It could be the thing that you use to infuse fish.
The fish infuser. Yes. Yeah. Now, do we have a word for fish yet?
I feel like we should. I don't know if we do.
Was there fish in the biryani?
Oh,
it's ploak.
Ploak. Yeah. Okay. We do have a word. Okay.
Now.
We have a word for. So, we changed ukri instead of being like essence of to like alcohol fermented thing. So that doesn't quite help us there for infuse. We just have a word for infuse. It's like a verb.
See,
Or-
it's one of these situations where it's like, I'm sure that if you're, I feel like once you study like Chinese, you're suddenly like, oh, literally anything could possibly be a root because you just like, oh, that's a word for it.
But
Okay.
this does feel like a place where a directional could be used. I mean, it's infuse, like you're fusing something into something else. So that's
Yeah.
pretty overtly directional. But
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
have those yet. So
We could make them now.
do we have a word for like to put or to place or?
Probably not.
We have take, we have bring, we have sacrifice, which like I feel like if you sacrifice the flavor, you
Sacrifice inwards.
it would.
I mean, take is like to take into something. Is to infuse.
Mhm.
Kind of.
That would work.
We could use that for the sake of example.
Mm-hmm. So that would need to go the classifier. So that would have to come at the wait.
So yeah, I don't think we actually talked about where the directionals would go, and that would depend on how we wanted to do them.
Okay. Well, what are our options? Where do we want?
They could be. They could come from just verb compounds or serial verb constructions, where it's just like, I go eat.
Mm-hmm.
I go away from here while eating. Or they could be, I can't remember where I got them from in Alothwe, but they come almost always at the very end. They could come from just like separate adpositional phrases or separate just adverbs.
Mm.
You could have a specific adverb that just means like away or towards something.
I like the idea of that over getting them from verbs, because then I feel like it feels like in my brain that would give us more flexibility to do weird stuff. But I'm trying to remember if we have
verbs can do anything.
As we're about to prove.
Like I'm looking at the Wolog, and like the venative usually comes from come and the andative from go.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
Like, and they also like they form serial verb constructions in very high levels.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a specific placement that you had in mind, or was it just the fact that you like them as adverbs?
I don't know. I'm not overly picky. I don't know. It was just like,
I mean, we could really kind of justify them coming on either side of the verb.
So if we did it at the beginning, would it be like take or like into fish take? Is that the order, or would fish end up before?
I think typically in the case of noun incorporation, the noun is like quite tightly bonded with the verb, so they usually come like right next to each other, because like fish take is like a single sort of compound now,
right?
So they wouldn't really want to break them up. So yeah, I think it would be directional, then fish, then take.
Like directional, maybe.
There is the question of, are we infusing the fish with something else, or are we infusing something else with the fish?
Yeah, that's...
Maddie, decide.
I feel like we're infusing the fish into other things.
Okay.
Okay.
Like anchovy broth.
We could turn the andative infinitive into a direct inversive system in one of the granddaughter langs.
We could do that. Yeah, we'll
I
get to
think it
direct
would be
inverse
like
systems some other time.
out of fish take.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but then we're not really making infuse.
Well, no, because it's infusion in the sense that it depends on because the verb is framed by the fish. So relative to the fish, you're taking it out of the fish. Whereas if it was relative to the broth, you would be going into the broth.
Okay. So we need something to mean like out of.
Like leave.
I mean, you know what sounds really similar to out of? Sacrifice. Which we also don't have a word for. I thought we had a word
We
for
do
that.
have a word for sacrifice.
It's just not here, I guess.
Oh, we never.
Oh, we do. We didn't move it.
Ah.
I had it twice.
Sometimes you do have to sacrifice something twice.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's also long, which means that we could like snip it up a bit.
Crawl is good for out of. That's true. We could do crawl. Crawl take.
The cruel fish.
Yeah. Well, we can make a word for just where did I put it? For leave or whatever.
It's a pretty basic meaning, so we could just come up with a root for it.
And then you can decide how it sounds.
We have a clicky button. Ha! This is the clicky button.
Maybe I introduced you to the clicky button too soon. Oh no, you were generating things for your languages before we started.
I just made my own code for it, so
Yeah.
I was extra crazy. Okay, so
Please no Rotix.
Please.
okay. I'm gonna put some options, and y'all can.
If we close our Aso is safe.
I just have to put this one here.
Oh.
That one's actually kind of fun.
Charlie.
Mope.
Muppet.
Okay, there are your options. That's true, George. We do.
What does gut come out as?
Well, as an independent word, that final T would drop off. So it would come out as we keep the voiced uvula, at least so far. So that would be like I can't remember what the vowels do now, but like
I'm gonna pull it up.
It would be something like
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, did that pop us over?
Yeah.
Why
I
did
can
that
see
pop
that.
us over?
Are
Oh,
you sharing the
that's fine.
Oop,
I changed that tab.
your email is on the screen.
Oh, it's fine. I have like 18 to do all of my things.
Yeah.
Okay. Share this tab. Import. This one. So then we want to pull. So would they, when we put them through the sound changer, would we put all the parts through separately, or would they all be together as one word? One big word?
For the time being, we'll say that they glom together pretty early on. So we'll just treat them as a single unit, I think.
And you can take the schwa off of the. What glorious
long words we have.
Kraglyplodrekoros. Ooh, blimey.
Irkagelgel, fucking.
And this is the verb for to infuse something with fish.
It doesn't. Yeah, we're not expecting it to be short.
Right.
Bib's taken mental damage.
Psychic damage.
I keep trying to pronounce them, but my mind keeps sort of calibrating before it can actually do it. Every time I think I'm ready, I see something else. I'm like, oh wait, no.
George likes number 3, and what the vibes I'm getting from the chat is that this is just amazing. Everyone is shocked and awed.
I mean, I'm with you on that front.
Asil poker de cures. I'm really bad with these trolls.
Wow, this one's really hard to say.
I mean, yeah, that third one is...
poker de cures.
poker der cures.
Yeah.
Wait, you have to distinguish between the gull with the Vila L versus gull.
Oh, God. Gull.
Yeah. We're making a language, or we're making languages for Pillar World, which is a world to write books in eventually. So I was like, I don't even know what this is. What are we doing? That's the vibe. Okay. So, I mean, are we going for the crazy one, or the first one is the shortest?
The first one doesn't have a prefix.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just the verb on its own.
So then this one is the shortest.
Which, I mean, in the third one, I can't even tell where is the gull coming from?
I think it's from an epenthetic vowel happening somewhere, maybe.
Where is the second L coming from? Oh, because of the PL that comes, because there's so many L's. Right. Okay. Man. So that if we did that, then the directional for out of would be 4 syllables long.
Which seems like a lot.
That, yeah, I would say so. So I vote against that one. I downvote that one.
I just need to know. I don't even know if this is allowed.
You can't have the double G. You can have one G as a treat.
No, I want. How do I make the double G?
No, you've got 2 Gs. Oh, you want the double G.
I just want to see if we can get that. So the beginning. Not actually, though. I just wanted to see what would happen. Nima says second one, but get rid of the first syllable A. So you're suggesting... that.
Sol poker de cures.
Yeah.
Sorry, sol poker der cures.
Sol poker der cures.
Sorry, yeah, my stress is on.
We don't have a word for potato yet. We can say like sausage and death, but that's about it. And this.
Well, there might be new words for sausage and death in this language, because there'll be... You wouldn't... We're saying that all the nouns like become something else, right?
Yeah, it could be something like again, depending on how crazy we want to go, but in languages that really lean into the deverbal noun thing, it's very common, like in Navajo, like the word for gun is be'eldo, which literally means you use it to make an explosion. So the word for sausage could totally be something like, one fashions it from animal guts or something.
Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of these, like I think we can get away with the directional being definitely one syllable and maybe at a stretch 2 syllables if the syllables aren't particularly bulky. Like,
yeah. I do lean towards liking. I do like these two, which I now made it go away again.
Yeah, I think both of those would be acceptable.
Yeah, that's true, George. Okay. So, I mean, we had one vote in the chat for this one. Do either of you two have a vote for one of these over the other? I don't know if I'm particularly...
They're not that different. I'm just double checking what... this is going to be annoying. I'll put a space in. See if that helps.
I'll vote for the shorter one.
The thing is, we're already making like "s," right? Already. So I feel like... How would you feel about "as"? I don't know what it would do.
How do I feel about what?
Just "as."
And like that?
What would happen?
Not much.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I mean, that would be fine too. Either is good.
We could use a different consonant if we wanted to differentiate it from the "s" ending.
I mean, it's not that bad. They're never going to be right next to each other.
So, was that for still being in favor of this one?
So it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're prefixes and suffixes now, but what if we put them into Assyria and they all sound the same?
They won't.
They already... Just depends how many numbers we put in front of them.
That's true. Like, how many fish are we taking it out of, you know?
What was our word for to take again?
Take...
Drerko. Sorry.
Drerko.
What the...
It's no one's fault. I didn't know what I was getting in for when I started this project.
Why is this?
I thought we were gonna make one that was like Italian and one that was like Korean, and then I would be free.
Trapped forever.
Fine, I've got Stockholm syndrome at this point.
That's fair.
I love the R's and the L's. They complete me.
There's
nothing wrong with having loads of R's and L's.
Okay, so our new words. So this is a new word. This is a new word. This is a new word. So we need to add all of these. Yellow. And
why not chartreuse?
What?
Why not chartreuse?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, no, because it's going into the proto, which is not chartreuse. I do have one of the story ideas I do have does involve a sort of like social system that's sort of inspired by like the Italian Quattrocento like warring noble families shenanigans, where like you must have swords on you at all times because they're all just assassinating each other. So I mean, it could be that one. You never know.
Draw your 5 swords.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be. That could be like how deep the threat is how many the number of swords are. You know, not that it's the actual number, but the number. You know, or maybe that's how many blades they have on them at all times. You know, based off the level of threat. You know,
this is a 4-sword situation.
Yeah.
It feels like a rating system, as
Yeah.
you were saying. Like,
That's good. Okay. And then
well,
this.
now we have our Fish Infusion Society.
Yes.
I'm pleased.
I just want to add this real quick. What's this verbs?
The saddest thing I find about societies with specific twin stuff is I think often it's you find it in places where twins are more common. And I don't know how, because a lot of them I'm aware of, they kill twins because they're considered like omens. So like, I think this used to happen in Yoruba society, but then they're definitely also like, I think they also have names for people who are twins, which and you probably wouldn't name them if you're gonna infanticize them, but anyway.
Yeah.
No, and the quadruplet just makes me think about what if these were secretly armadillos all along.
Oh my gosh.
Because then they would always come in 4s.
But yeah, it could be the magic there, like George is saying, could be weird fertility magic.
It's an armadillo god.
Could be. Okay.
But if you were in a quadruplet, good twin, bad twin, and then what would the other 2 be?
It would depend on what the associations are with the different numbers, right?
Weird twin, boring twin.
Yeah, like whatever the numbers are. Because wasn't one of them going to mean like danger, like 5 or something? We hadn't specified it, but they were going to have like connotations like that too. So then you would be like that twin.
That's interesting.
Anyway,
apparently armadillos violate the 1/2 rule. Which makes sense. I don't know how.
1/2 rule.
I don't know how.
Why
this is SFW. This is the 1/2 rule. Is that typically a mammal species will have a number of nipples equal to twice the average number of offspring. As like a, there's usually some variation in the number in like a litter of how many offspring there'll be, but like having like double the number like ensures that in the most like extreme cases there will always be enough room for each of them to suckle, whereas armadillos, since they consistently have almost always exactly 4, they only have 4 mammaries.
Weird. Yeah, that would be a little rough because they wouldn't be, if we had weird fertility magic. Yeah. We wouldn't need to do anything weird. But anyway, okay. Is there anything we need to, Nemo, anything we need to like wrap up for this? Or are we like we've come up with 2 words. We know exactly what the meaning is.
We have a like a roadmap for how our verbs are going to work, which is pretty good. So
all from Chartreuse.
Yes. It occurs to me that I did a very similar thing with a Lothwey. Because I actually came up with the name Ilothwy first and back solved it, and the place I got it was actually a misprint of a Lovecraft story, where he mentions that there's an ancient city called Olathak, and in some versions of it, the C at the end is mistyped as an E, so it looks like it says Olothway. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a nice word. And then I just played around with it a bit and got Ilothwy.
I like that. That's fun.
Ilothwy.
Yes, it's a long I, Ilothwy.
Everyone is very curious in the chat about how armadillos have exactly 4 pups.
I don't know.
Well, it's probably in my book that is only about the 9-banded armadillo.
You'll have to consult your book and let us know next.
I'll consult my book and get
we'll
back to
open
you.
with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Cool. We did the stuff. We did a lot today.
Yeah. From a certain perspective, yeah.
Okay. I see how it is, Bib. All right. Are we ready to cut it?
I mean, we did actually do quite a lot, in all seriousness. So, yes.
I've got a picture of the 4 nipples. Exposed.
So they do have a section on it. You'll be ready for next week.
Yeah, I've got to the section on the reproductive system.
We started a lot of things today. Yeah.
Like I said, we got a pretty solid idea of, like, now it's just a matter of, like, deciding on what classifiers we have and coming up with, like, basic verb roots and just combining them in fun ways.
Like fish infusion. I'm glad that the fish infusion has made it.
We have it. And we do need to still see if we're going to pull in our modal shenanigans too. That's also important.
So they're going to get even longer.
I mean, they can be longer. They don't need to be long though, you know? They could be. We can choose which pieces we add. But anyway, are there any announcements that need to be had this week? Other than there's the normal streams. I don't think there's anything fancy this week, is there?
My video comes out this week.
Oh, Wednesday?
Unless something horribly bad happens at the last minute, yeah.
No.
Wednesday at 6 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. UTC, and yeah, I hope it's good.
It's good. I've watched it.
I'm excited.
And I'm currently reading this book by this author that no one here knows about.
Oh, is it good?
You
recommend it?
Someone named Madeleine James.
James? Madeleine James?
It almost sounds like you're saying hummus and
yeah, Madeleine James. Yeah.
Wow, everyone's reading this book right now.
Who would have guessed?
That's weird. Just a weird. Okay.
I'm a sick. I hate this word. It's such a horrible word. I'm just gonna say sixth, and you can deal with it. Sixth of the way through.
Sixth.
Sixth?
Evil.
A sixth?
Sixth.
It is a pretty dreadful word.
It's a dreadful word.
Like a seventh? I don't even know if I know what's happening.
Seventh?
Yeah. A sixth.
Seventh?
1 out of 6.
All of them are terrible for me. I think initially I don't neutralize so much,
but finally.
Mm-mm. Oh yeah,
I mean,
Nemo has a mission. Nemo's goal is to criticize my magic system.
Oh.
Yeah. It's the only thing no one's criticized yet in any of my reviews. They're all like, oh, it's great.
It feels, I think the elements feel very Cinetic in the way that like you have like the 5. No, because there isn't a wood element, is there?
Just Earth.
Just Earth. It reminds me very much of like the Chinese sort of elemental thingy-mabob.
Sixth. Very good. Very good. Okay. Well. Are we done? We say goodbye?
I believe so.
Adieu.
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 How do you
Okay,
say
bye.